This is episode 58 of the Artist to Artist podcast. This is the podcast for self-taught and undertrained makeup artists who are ready to stop second-guessing themselves and start showing up like pros. My name is Angie. I'm a full-time freelance makeup artist. And if you're tired of feeling like you're doing everything right, but you're not seeing enough progress, you are in the right place. I have a question for you to start off this episode. Have you actually taken a minute to sit down and plan what you want your business to look like next year? And I'm not talking about you want more clients, you want more money, you want to get more PR. I mean a real plan, something that will actually get you closer to the kind of artist that you want to become or to the goals that you have for your career. Many artists never do this. They finish the year exhausted. They promise themselves they'll start fresh in January, and then they spend months trying to get their momentum back. And before you know it, it's like March, April, and nothing is going on. And I know this pattern very well because I used to be one of these people. When I started freelancing, I did not know that planning for the year ahead, or really any kind of planning, was something that mattered, something that I had to actually take time to focus on. I thought that if I just kept saying yes to work, posted consistently on my social, and kind of staying on that hamster wheel, that things would somehow fall into place. And that is, I think, what really kept me stuck in my career for a very long period of time. What I didn't realize very early on in my career is that when you have a goal in front of you, something you're consciously working towards, it changes a lot about how you move, and it changes a lot about your business. And you can reverse engineer your steps. So what happens is you stop reacting to things that happen in your career, and you actually start directing your own business, which is the position that we all want to get to eventually, right? December is a very strange month. This is not the case for everybody, but work generally slows down in December. For me, it's usually very slow every single year at this time. Everyone's on social posting their highlight reels for the year, and you're sitting there taking in all the content, and you start questioning if you've done enough this year. You're caught between wanting to rest and relax, but you also kind of feel guilty for not doing more during your downtime, or maybe even feeling guilty for not doing enough during the year. But this slow period, the time when everything starts to feel quiet, this is your best opportunity to really reset. You're not rushing from client to client. You finally have some space to think clearly. This is a good time to decide whether you repeat what you did last year or you start building something new or something better. Instead of checking out from now till the end of the year or waiting for that January motivation, New Year's resolution to kick in, use this time to look at where you want to go and think about how you are going to get there. December is really when your next year actually starts. If you wait until January, I think you're already behind. By the time you feel ready, if you put this off to the new year, artists who have planned things out in November and December are already executing, right? They are speaking to new contacts, they're pitching certain ideas for photo shoots, they're posting, and they're booking clients while you are still getting organized. And planning for the new year, it isn't about being rigid and just creating this crazy to-do list. It's about clarity. It's about looking at your goals and asking yourself, what do I need to do in the next 90 days to move toward that? Because what you plan in December determines what kind of artist you are going to be by next June. This is the time where you identify what is working, what isn't working for your business, and where you want to focus your time and energy. If you want 2026 to be the year your business levels up, I know for me, every year I have things that I want to get better at, things that I want to improve in my business. I think it's important to focus on these three areas. So the first area is your portfolio. Your portfolio or your book is your currency. It's the first impression of you, your artistry, your professionalism, your taste level. It's how people judge whether or not you are the right artist for their job, their shoot, whatever it is. So you can use this time now to look critically at the images in your portfolio. Ask yourself, does this represent the kind of work that I want to be doing next year? Would my dream clients look at my book and say, this is exactly what I'm looking for? When I started paying closer attention to my own portfolio, really reflecting on the type of jobs that I was doing, I realized that I had really only been treating shoot days as content days, testing new products, new techniques, which all of this you should do when you're doing your portfolio shoots or TFPs or whatever. But I should have been looking at these days as career building days. So now when I do creative work, TFPs, photo shoots that are for my portfolio, I take a little more initiative with the team that I'm working with, the photographer, hairstylist, model, whoever it is. I really make sure that the final shot actually reflects my vision. We're staying on track with the team's vision. I pay attention to things like how the model is positioned, the lighting, the overall composition. Am I an expert at this? No, but it's those tiny details that I pay attention to because they are the difference between a good photo and a very professional one that a client sees in your portfolio and is like, yes, this person is working at my level. If you want to grow as a makeup artist, start studying what the best people in the world are doing. Look at the teams that you admire, artists, photographers, whoever it is. What do their photos look like? What's the level of detail in the makeup, the polish? How are these details captured? The lighting, the positioning? What are we seeing in the frame of the image? Then go and compare that to your own work. And that reflection alone can show you exactly where you need to level up. This is not an exercise to make you feel bad that you're not doing a certain caliber of work, because we all have to work through the early days where we're getting better, we're building our technique, we're learning how to be comfortable on set, we're learning how to work with teams. But looking at and studying people who are doing this at the highest level, you start to train your eye to see little details that add up to a photograph or a video or a piece of content that looks super pro. And you have to look at the work you're doing. And yes, it is comparison to people who are more experienced than you, but it's comparison to help you improve, not to make you feel bad. So the next area I think you should be focusing on, your network. Your network will create more opportunities for you than your social media ever will. This has been the case for me year after year after year, and I have a fairly decent social media following, but it doesn't always translate to paid work. If you listen to the last episode of this podcast, you know that networking, it's a long game. It's not about who responds to your DMs or emails this month. It's about the relationships that will pay off years from now. So this season, focus on nurturing the relationships that you already have. Send a quick message to someone you worked with this year. Ask to take them out for a coffee or a lunch, or send them something over the holidays. If you don't want to go that far, just leave a nice comment under a post or send them a DM to say thank you for your support this year and I really learned a lot from you and I appreciated working with you, something like that. Networking does not have to be formal. I think sometimes it's really just about staying visible. It's about staying supportive of your peers. It's about being reliable when people call on you to work, to assist. And I think sometimes people remember energy more than effort. And when I say energy, I mean like attitude, vibe, professionalism. If they consistently see you showing up with purpose, whether it's on the job, whether it's through a referral, whether they see this on social, in person, whatever it is, they will think of you when opportunities come up. Turning your focus to your network, or part of your focus to your network, is going to be very helpful for you now and forever, because we have to consistently be networking in order to have longevity in this industry, because your contacts, your jobs, your clients, they can disappear overnight sometimes, and it will happen many times in your career. Your networking efforts have to be ongoing. It doesn't stop once you get a certain amount of clients, once you end up working with someone that you've really wanted to work with. It's something that you have to continuously work on throughout the entire length of your career. The last thing I think is important to work on is your consistency. And this could also be your sort of determination to do the job. And I think consistency is really one thing that separates pros from everybody else. For me, that consistency looks like a lot of different things, right? So it means planning out my content, for example, ahead of time. So sitting down before my jobs and TFPs and really mapping out what I want to get. And then I batch my content to make sure every week I'm putting out something. So my work is out there. I tag people that I've worked with. So I'm just staying engaged with the industry and I'm staying top of mind for my clients. When I'm working jobs, whether I'm doing a creative or it's a paid job, making sure that I take time before each job to prepare, to pack my kit, making sure that if I don't have a mood board prepared, I have one. So I have something in case things go wrong. I have a tool to communicate with my clients. If I am working with a full team, making sure I am letting my clients know what they can expect from me, the type of makeup that I'm going to be doing on the job or whatever it is. So just making sure like I'm staying on top of things like this for all of my jobs and shoots, whether they're paid or unpaid. This is starting to work all of this into your schedule so that it becomes more like a business, it becomes more structured, and then you rely less on, I don't want to say motivation, but you rely on that structure. So let's say I know an hour before every job, I sit down, I pack my kit, I make sure I have everything's clean, prepared, I'm prepping touch-up kits, I have my mood boards ready, I know what I'm walking into. That consistency, that structure, that habit that I implement before anytime I'm going to be doing makeup, this can sometimes keep me going and keep me steady, even when I'm tired, I'm unsure, I'm not feeling it, I'm not motivated. Sometimes motivation doesn't take you all the way because it's very easy to lose motivation, especially at the end of the year. So that consistency and treating everything that I'm doing with, an equal amount of attention and care and preparedness, this is what keeps me moving in the right direction. Those 3 areas will help you grow your business. It helps you grow your business in a way that is sustainable, right? You're not going to run yourself down. You're not going to get in over your head. So work on your portfolio, work on your network, work on staying top of mind when it comes to a makeup artist or a makeup artist and hairstylist for people in your market, and just work on being consistent. Many successful artists use their slow time or their off season as their reset season. They are maybe updating their portfolios, websites, looking at their social, taking things down that are no longer serving them or looks that they're maybe not 100% on, keeping their stronger stuff, refining their kits, maybe downsizing, maybe reorganizing, experimenting with new products that they haven't had a chance to try yet, testing new techniques, whether it's on family members during the holidays or creatives or TFPs that they're working on. This is what I do. And the reason this is a good time to do this now is because when busy season hits, you don't have time to focus on the growth of your business. You really sometimes only have time to execute, especially those of you that work weddings or work TV or movies. Once you're in that workflow, it's very hard to take time back for yourself to really reflect on your skills, to keep your kit organized, all of these things that we have to do to keep going. It's hard to do when you're swept up in a lot of work. This is a great time to clean and reorganize your kit. You may want to work on your website or content, look at what you're putting out there on Instagram, maybe look at your pricing, how you're presenting your services. Maybe you may want to change some things in your Instagram bio on your website as well in terms of how you are talking to your ideal clients. It's also a great time to audit your year. So just go back and look at your calendar, go through each month, think about which jobs you loved and which ones absolutely drained you so you don't make the same mistakes next year. And if you need to rest, you rest during this time as well, because you can't do good work when you're burnt out. But also when you're resting, do not avoid the things that you have to do. Professionals do all this rebuilding in the off season. I would say hobbyists are more likely to be reactive. So when things get busy, then they'll organize their kit. Then they'll maybe update their communication templates or their website copy or pricing or whatever it is. So if you had 4 weeks, let's say it's like November to January, with no pressure, not a lot of jobs, what part of your business would you finally fix? You should be doing this now and not trying to squeeze it in when things get busy. Speaking of hobbyists, let's just quickly touch on what I think separates hobbyists from professionals. And this is kind of what separates what I was doing when I was first starting versus what I do now. So professionals will stay consistent no matter how busy, how slow. Pros are not going to be relying on luck. They rely on systems, progress. They do small, boring things that no one sees. All of the things I talk about in the membership, on the podcast, all those little details, setting up systems in your business, cleaning and organizing your kit, reviewing your stations, like all these little things that I'm always talking about. These little habits compound over time. This is why some artists on social seem to blow up overnight, because they've been quietly putting in all of this work and they've been hustling for years and years. And I think if you want to step into that next level, you can't just work harder, meaning just putting in more hours. You have to work smarter and more intentionally. And this is what really separates a hobbyist from a pro. And this is exactly what separates how I used to do things and how I used to operate my business versus how I do now. And before we talk about building your vision or your goals for 2026, something to think about. Your vision that you have for your business is what is going to keep you excited about the work. Your direction is going to give you a plan so that you have something to actually follow, which is important so you don't feel like you're a hamster on the wheel. And together, they are going to create this momentum that will last longer than any New Year's resolution ever will. I'm not a New Year's resolution person myself. I think that you have to be excited. You have to be dedicated. You have to really love everything about this job in order to make it. And a New Year's resolution is not going to get you there. Here's what I want you to try for the rest of this month and into December as well. Create a 2026 mood board, not about material things, but about the kind of work you want to be doing. So think about style of makeup you want to be known for, the models, the energy, the campaigns, the clients that you want to attract, the finish of the images, and maybe the tone and style of the images that represent your dream career, and put it all together visually, even if it's just on your phone, even if you just use Canva or Pinterest, whatever you want to use. Then you want to ask yourself what needs to happen between now and next November, December for this to become a reality for you. And that's where your planning for your 2026 is going to start. Inside the membership, if you are a member with me, I'm going to be helping members break that down, basically from your vision to your action plan, how you can start making steps to get you there. Right after you finish this episode, if you have some time, or if you don't have time after you finish this episode, put some time in your calendar and think about what would make 2026 a success for you, and what's one thing you could do this month that would help you move towards that. So write that down, keep it visible, put a reminder in your phone. I'm someone that writes things down all the time, so do whatever works for you. What I want to be clear about is planning in this manner isn't about predicting the future or manifesting the future. It's really about preparing for it, preparing for the next phase of your career. You do not have to have this all figured out. You might not even know what this really looks like, but what you need to do is just start thinking about it. Just do one thing in the next month to move you forward. If you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, okay, I have not had a great year. I didn't really check off all the things on my to-do list that I wanted to. I feel like I have maybe lost some motivation, or maybe things just aren't clear for you in terms of how things are going to progress in your career, or maybe you've just lost hope in what your career could be. This is your time to change that. Inside the Artist to Artist membership, I'm going to provide the guidance, the feedback, the things that you need to help you stay focused. And it's not just about inspiration. It's me trying to help you reverse engineer your goals, maybe get some questions answered that will give you clarity, stay accountable, and stay working towards an improved career for 2026. You already know what you're capable of, but sometimes you just need a little support in getting there. And I think 2026 is a good time to build the version of your business that proves what you can accomplish. The way you envision your career, it's not just going to pop out of thin air. It's something you have to work towards. But if you keep pushing things off because of whatever reason, right? You're overwhelmed, you're feeling not very motivated, you are feeling almost maybe negative about the industry and how things go, you can turn that around. We've all been there, but it really starts with an intention to do that. And this is why I wanted to share this episode with you. This is why I wanted to encourage you to reflect on your year. And that's everything for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you do want to work with me in the membership to start planning your 2026, you can do that starting now. I'll include a link to join the membership, 7-day free trial, $20 Canadian every month. And hopefully I will see you in there. Have a great rest of the day.